It started with a whisper of rebellion that turned into a roar of darkness that the world was never supposed to see. We have always known the story of Noah, the ark, and the rain that changed everything. But what if I told you that long before the first drop of water hit the parched earth, the blueprint for the coming judgment was already being whispered in the ears of the prophets? There is an ancient voice, a name that echoes from the very edge of time: Enoch. The man who walked with God and was no more, for God took him. And what he saw, what he wrote down, and what was systematically buried for thousands of years, changes every single thing you think you know about 3000 BC. This isn't just a myth from a forgotten age. This is a forensic report from the edge of human history. A warning flare sent from the heavens to a generation that had completely lost its way. When you look at the world today, with all its chaos, its noise, and its frantic pursuit of things that do not last, you are looking at a mirror image of the days of Noah. You see, the flood wasn't just an act of sudden wrath. It was the final conclusion to a long, tragic sequence of events. Enoch saw the gears turning. He saw the shift in the spiritual atmosphere that made the flood not just possible, but inevitable. He documented a reality that was being erased from the collective memory of mankind. A reality where the line between the divine and the profane had been shattered. Imagine standing on the hills of Mesopotamia, the air thick with the scent of impending catastrophe, and realizing that the people around you are living as if the sun will never set. They were builders of towers, architects of empires, entirely blind to the encroaching shadow. Enoch's record is the only thing that pulls back the curtain on that era, revealing why the waters really had to rise. It shows you the true nature of the warning God sent, a warning that was echoing in the hearts of the few who were still paying attention. The silence of the world back then is deafening to us now. It tells us that when things feel like they are spinning out of control, when the foundations seem to be giving way beneath our feet, it is usually because the warning has already been issued, and we have simply been too distracted to hear it. This is about more than ancient history. It is about a God who never leaves his people without a sign, without a clear path forward, even when the rest of the world is drowning in its own choices. If you have ever felt that the world is moving toward a tipping point, if you have ever sensed that there is more to our history than the textbooks allowed us to believe, then you are standing in the same place those few voices stood before the rain began. It is time to look at what was erased, to listen to what was meant to be forgotten, and to realize that the warning issued in 3000 BC is still vibrating in the air today. Walk with me into that forgotten silence, because when you finally see what Enoch saw, the world you are standing in right now will never look the same again. To truly understand the gravity of Enoch's warnings, we must first transport our minds back to the sheer intensity of the pre-flood civilization. We tend to think of 3000 BC as a time of primitive simplicity, of people living in tents and chasing goats. But the ancient traditions, preserved in the writings attributed to Enoch, paint a radically different picture. This was a time of advanced, perhaps even terrifying sophistication. It was a world where human ingenuity had reached a fever pitch, where the boundaries of what was possible were being pushed to their absolute limit. Yet, this expansion was not rooted in wisdom. It was fueled by a profound and dangerous pride. Enoch describes a world that had become an echo chamber of human arrogance. Imagine a society where the pursuit of power was the only currency that mattered, where the secrets of the earth, the sky, and the spirit were being manipulated not for the betterment of humanity, but for the elevation of the self. This was the era of the Watchers, a time when, according to these ancient texts, forces beyond the human realm began to interfere directly with the course of our history. Enoch's writings don't just speak of a moral decline, they speak of an ontological disruption. It was as if the fabric of reality itself was being stretched and torn by the ambitions of those who refused to recognize a higher authority. In this environment, the warnings of Enoch were not just ignored, they were systematically erased. The powers that be, those who benefited from the status quo, that a message of repentance, a message that pointed back to a divine order, was the greatest threat to their dominion. So, they did what every regime in history has done when confronted with a truth they cannot silence through logic. They tried to bury it under a mountain of distractions. They made the world so loud, so busy, and so enamored with its own technological and social progress that the quiet, piercing voice of the prophet became nothing more than background noise. Think about that for a moment. How often in our own lives do we find ourselves so overwhelmed by the sheer pace of existence, so consumed by the next big thing, the next crisis, the next trend, that the fundamental questions where are we going? And what is the foundation of our reality get pushed to the very back of our minds? This is exactly what was happening in 3000 BC. The people were so intoxicated by their own capabilities that they had lost the ability to discern the signs of the times. And this is precisely where Enoch's message becomes so profoundly relevant for us today. He wasn't just predicting the flood. He was diagnosing a disease of the human spirit. He saw that when a civilization decides that it is the ultimate arbiter of truth, it inevitably sets itself on a collision course with the reality of God. The flood, in this sense, was not an arbitrary punishment. It was the necessary corrective to a world that had completely lost its center. It was the only way to reset the stage, to wash away the stains of a rebellion that had become irreversible. The warning that Enoch sent was a call to return, a plea to recognize that there is a source of existence far greater than ourselves, and that ignoring this source leads, by necessity, to catastrophe. But as we dig deeper into these records, we have to ask ourselves why this perspective was erased. Why is it that the story of Enoch, with its vivid, sometimes unsettling descriptions of the unseen world, was relegated to the margins, excluded from the mainstream narratives of our history? The answer, I believe, lies in the discomfort it creates. Enoch speaks of accountability. He speaks of a divine justice that is not swayed by human opinion or political power. He reminds us that our actions have consequences, that the trajectory of our society is being watched and weighed. And that is a message that the builders of towers, in every age, have always wanted to forget. They want to believe that they are the architects of their own destiny, free from any higher judgment. They want a history that begins and ends with them. But the truth, as Enoch saw it, is that we are part of a much larger, much more intricate drama. We are not just actors on a stage. We are accountable to the one who built the stage in the first place. The erasure of Enoch's warnings was the first step in the great decoupling of humanity from its spiritual roots. It was the beginning of a modern worldview that views the universe as a cold, mechanical place, devoid of meaning and purpose, where we are free to carve out our own truth. But that worldview is fragile. It cannot sustain us when the waters rise, when the structures we have built with so much effort begin to crumble. Enoch's record is a reminder that we are built for something more. We are designed to walk with God, to live in alignment with an order that transcends our fleeting ambitions. When we lose sight of that, when we decide that we know better than the Creator, we are essentially inviting the flood. This isn't a message of fear, it is a message of profound clarity. It is the realization that the patterns we see in our world today are not new. They are the same patterns that Enoch observed from the edges of his own time. The arrogance, the corruption, the distraction, the refusal to hear the warning, it's all there, playing out in the same tired, tragic cycle. But we don't have to be part of that cycle. We have the benefit of hindsight. We can look at the warning Enoch sent and recognize the signs of our own time. We can choose to be the few who are paying attention, the ones who recognize that the foundation of our world is not in our own hands. We can choose to step out of the noise and back into the truth. That is what Enoch showed us. That is what was erased. And that is why it is so critical for us to remember it now. The warning was not just for the people of 3000 BC, it was for us, to help us navigate the rising waters of our own era. It is a reminder that even when the world seems to have forgotten its origin, even when the truth seems to have been erased, it remains, waiting for those with the courage to seek it out. And as we continue to explore this, I want you to consider your own place in this story. Are you building on a foundation that will stand, or are you constructing something that is destined to be swept away? Enoch's warning is still echoing. Can you hear it? In the ancient texts, Enoch doesn't just describe the coming of the flood as a physical event. He talks about it as a spiritual reality that was manifesting in the physical world. He describes a world where the natural order had been corrupted, where the laws that govern the interaction between the physical and the spiritual had been violated. This is a difficult concept for the modern mind to grasp. We are so accustomed to thinking in purely material terms that we struggle to imagine a reality where the spiritual is just as real, just as tangible as the ground beneath our feet. But Enoch's experience suggests that this is exactly how the world functioned before the waters came. The corruption of the world wasn't just a matter of people acting badly. It was a matter of a fundamental distortion in the way reality was understood and experienced. The leaders of that time, those whom Enoch calls the mighty ones, were not just seeking physical power. They were seeking to control the unseen forces of the world. They were engaging in practices that breached the boundaries set by the Creator, and this is what led to the breakdown of the world's order. It's like a system that has been compromised from the inside, a structure that has been weakened by forces that shouldn't be there. And when the structure is compromised, the flood becomes the only way to purify the system. Enoch's descriptions of this are chilling, but they are also deeply profound. They reveal a world where humanity had become obsessed with its own potential, where it had decided that the limits set by God were not boundaries but obstacles to be overcome. This is the ultimate hubris. It is the belief that we are gods, that we can create our own reality, that we are not subject to any laws other than our own. And this belief is the root cause of all the catastrophes that follow. The flood was the inevitable result of a world that had turned its back on the source of its own existence. And the warning Enoch sent was a last, desperate attempt to turn them back. He was the voice crying out in the wilderness, pointing to the truth, urging people to return to the path of wisdom. But his voice was drowned out, his writings were erased, and the world proceeded on its path of destruction. This is the story of Enoch. It's a story about the danger of losing our way, about the consequences of ignoring the warning, and about the enduring truth that exists even when it is buried. And the reason this matters so much to us now is because we are living in a time that is hauntingly similar to the one Enoch described. We, too, are a civilization that has become obsessed with our own potential, that has pushed the boundaries of what is possible, and that has, in many ways, turned its back on the source of our own existence. We are living in a world where the line between the divine and the profane is constantly being blurred, where our own ambitions have become our primary pursuit. And just like the people of 3000 BC, we are being warned. The signs are all around us, in the instability of our world, in the loss of our shared values, in the frantic pace of our lives. The question is, are we paying attention? Are we hearing the warning? Or are we, like the people of the ancient world, too distracted, too consumed by our own towers to notice that the waters are beginning to rise? That is the challenge that Enoch's record presents to us. It forces us to confront the reality of our own condition, to ask ourselves if we are heading down the same path, and to decide if we are going to continue in our own arrogance or return to the path of truth. This is not about feeling guilty or hopeless. It's about taking responsibility for our place in this story. It's about recognizing that we have a choice, that we are not just victims of our circumstances, but agents of our own destiny, provided we choose to align ourselves with the truth. And that is what this journey is really about. It's about uncovering the truth that has been erased, about listening to the warning that has been ignored, and about finding the wisdom to live in a way that is true, that is solid, and that will endure. Enoch's message is a beacon of hope in a world that is easily lost. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we have a connection to the Creator, and that we have a path to follow that leads to life. So, as we continue to reflect on what Enoch showed us, let's hold on to this. Let's not be the generation that ignores the warning. Let's be the generation that remembers, that understands, and that chooses a different path. Let's be the ones who walk with God, even when the rest of the world is choosing another way. That is the true legacy of Enoch, and that is what we are here to reclaim. The flood may have been a catastrophe, but it was also a cleansing. It was a new beginning. And in the same way, the warning that Enoch sent can be a new beginning for us, a chance to reset our priorities, to reorient our lives, and to find the truth that has been waiting for us all along. The more we look into this, the more we see that 3000 BC was not an isolated event. It was a mirror for everything that followed. Every time a civilization has reached this point, every time it has decided that its own power is the ultimate reality, it has faced its own flood. It might not always be physical water, but the destruction is always just as real. The warning is the same, the hubris is the same, and the outcome is the same. But the opportunity is also the same. We have the chance to listen, to learn, and to choose differently. We have the chance to be the ones who, like Enoch, walk with God, even when the world around us is moving in a different direction. And that is the most important message of all. It's a message of hope, of resilience, and of the enduring power of the truth. So, let's take this message to heart. Let's carry it with us. Let's be the ones who are paying attention. Because the truth is not something that can be erased forever. It's something that always finds a way to resurface, waiting for those who are willing to listen. And that is the journey we are on, a journey toward the truth, toward a better way of living, and toward the realization of the purpose we were created for. Enoch showed us this thousands of years ago, and it is just as true today. It is the core of our history, and it is the key to our future. Let's make the most of it. There is a deep, resonant truth in the fact that Enoch's record survived at all. Think about the odds. A document written on the very cusp of prehistory, describing realities that the world has tried to suppress for millennia, and yet, here it is. It is as if it was meant to be found, meant to be read, meant to be understood by a generation that would face the same challenges, the same temptations, and the same crucial decisions. And that, in itself, is a sign. It is a reminder that the truth has a resilience of its own, that it is not subject to the erasure of human history. It is preserved in ways we don't always understand until the moment it is most needed. And that moment, I would argue, is now. We are standing at a threshold, a moment where the old ways are failing, and we are forced to look for something more solid, something that can hold up under the pressure of our current reality. Enoch's record is that something. It is the foundation that we have been looking for, the anchor that we have been missing. It provides the context we need to understand not just where we have been, but where we are going. It helps us to see the bigger picture, to understand the forces at play in our world, and to realize that our actions, our choices, and our values matter in ways we never thought possible. This isn't just about reading an ancient text. It's about engaging with a living truth, a truth that is as relevant today as it was 5,000 years ago. It's about entering into the dialogue that Enoch started, about taking up the mantle of the prophet, and about speaking the truth into a world that is so desperately in need of it. So, let's not be afraid of the discomfort. Let's not shy away from the questions that Enoch's record raises. Let's lean into them. Let's explore them. Let's let them challenge us, change us, and guide us toward a path that is more aligned with the truth of our creation. That is the work of a lifetime, and it is the most important work any of us can do. Because, in the end, it's not about how much power we have, or how much we have achieved, or how well we have played the game of our culture. It's about whether we have been faithful to the truth, whether we have walked with God, and whether we have stood for what is right, even when it was difficult, even when it was unpopular, and even when the world around us was moving toward the flood. That is the essence of Enoch's life, and that is the challenge he leaves for us. It's a challenge to be courageous, to be discerning, and to be steadfast in our commitment to the truth. And if we can do that, if we can be the ones who are truly paying attention, then we have nothing to fear. We have a solid foundation, a clear path, and a source of strength that can carry us through any flood, any catastrophe, and any challenge that comes our way. That is the promise that Enoch showed us, and that is the truth that has been waiting for us to reclaim it. It's time to move beyond the superficial, to look past the distractions, and to engage with the reality of our own existence. It's time to listen to the warning, to recognize the signs, and to choose the path of wisdom. Because the truth is there, and it is waiting for you. And when you finally see it, when you finally understand it, you will never look at the world, or your place in it, the same way again. This is about uncovering the core of our human story, about recognizing the patterns of our past, and about using that wisdom to shape our future. It's about becoming the people we were meant to be, living in harmony with the Creator, and standing for the truth in a world that so often tries to erase it. And that, my friend, is a journey worth taking. It's a journey that will change you, that will challenge you, and that will ultimately lead you to the truth that you have been looking for all along. So, let's walk this path together, and let's see what we can learn, what we can uncover, and what we can become. Because the warning that Enoch sent is not just a relic of the past. It is a vital, living truth that is meant to guide us, to protect us, and to lead us home. And that is a journey that starts today. We live in an age of information, yet we seem to be drowning in an ocean of confusion. We have more access to knowledge than any generation that has ever lived, and yet the fundamental truth seems further away than ever. We are bombarded with conflicting narratives, competing ideologies, and a constant stream of information that is designed to distract us, to divide us, and to keep us from the core questions of our existence. And this, I believe, is the modern version of the erasure Enoch spoke of. It's not a physical burial of texts. It's an intellectual burial of truth under a mountain of noise and misinformation. We are so busy consuming that we have forgotten how to contemplate. We are so focused on the immediate that we have lost sight of the eternal. And this is exactly what makes the story of Enoch so powerful. It cuts through the noise. It challenges the narratives we've been fed. It demands that we stop, that we think, and that we consider the possibility that there is more to our reality than what we are being shown. It invites us to look beyond the surface, to question the assumptions of our culture, and to seek the truth for ourselves. And this is not an easy task. It requires courage, it requires discernment, and it requires a willingness to stand apart from the crowd. It requires us to be the ones who are willing to say, wait, what if there is more? What if the story we've been told is not the whole story? What if the warning we've been ignoring is actually the most important thing we need to hear? That is the journey we are undertaking. It is a journey that will test our resolve, but it is also a journey that will reward us with a deeper, more profound understanding of who we are and what we are capable of. It's a journey that will lead us back to the core of our humanity, back to the source of our creation, and back to the truth that can set us free. So, let's keep going. Let's keep digging. Let's keep questioning. Let's keep seeking. Because the truth is not something to be found once and then forgotten. It is a life's work. It is a continuous pursuit, a constant refinement of our understanding, and a deepening of our commitment to the path of wisdom. And the story of Enoch is a guiding light on that path. It's a reminder that we are not the first ones to face these challenges, and we won't be the last. But we can be the ones who learn from the past, who heed the warning, and who choose a different future. And that is a powerful, life-changing choice. It's a choice that starts with each of us, right here, right now. It's a choice to be the ones who are truly paying attention. It's a choice to live with purpose, to act with integrity, and to stand for the truth. And that, in the end, is all that matters. The flood was a moment of judgment, but it was also a moment of grace. It was a chance for a new beginning, a fresh start, and a second opportunity to get it right. And the warning Enoch sent was a part of that grace. It was an invitation to turn back, to return to the path, and to avoid the catastrophe that was to come. And that same invitation is extended to us today. We are being offered a fresh start, a chance to reorient our lives, and an opportunity to choose a better path. The question is, are we going to accept it? Are we going to listen to the warning? Or are we going to continue in our own pride, our own arrogance, and our own way of doing things? That is the question that defines our time, and that is the question that defines our lives. And the answer we choose will make all the difference in the world. So, let's choose wisely. Let's choose the truth. Let's choose the path that leads to life. Let's choose to walk with God, no matter what the rest of the world is doing. That is the message of Enoch, and that is the message we need to hear now. It's a message that can change everything. It's a message that is meant for you. It's a message that is waiting for you to embrace it. So, let's embrace it. Let's live it. And let's see what happens. The path to the truth is not always easy. It's often fraught with challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But it is also a path that is filled with beauty, meaning, and purpose. It's a path that is worth every step, every sacrifice, and every moment of introspection. And as we continue to explore the story of Enoch, let's remember that we are not alone on this journey. We are part of a long historic tradition of people who have sought the truth, who have stood for what is right, and who have walked with God in a world that often tries to pull them in another direction. And that connection is a source of strength, a source of inspiration, and a source of guidance. So, let's lean into that. Let's learn from their example. Let's be inspired by their courage. And let's continue to walk this path, with our eyes open, our minds clear, and our hearts aligned with the truth. That is how we live a life that matters. That is how we make a difference. And that is how we leave a legacy that is true, that is solid, and that will endure. The story of Enoch is not just a story from the past, it is a story for our future. It's a story that is happening right now, in the choices we make, in the values we uphold, and in the lives we lead. It's a story that is being written, one day at a time, one choice at a time. And we are the authors. We have the power to decide how this story ends. So, let's write a story that is worth telling. Let's write a story that is true. Let's write a story that honors the warning and that points toward the light. That is the challenge, and that is the promise. Let's meet it together. There is a deep, quiet power in the story of Enoch. It's not the kind of power that shouts, that demands, or that forces its way. It's the kind of power that endures, that whispers, and that guides. It's the power of the truth itself, a power that cannot be suppressed, that cannot be erased, and that cannot be ignored. And that is the power that we are tapping into when we engage with these ancient records. We are tapping into a reality that transcends our fleeting existence, a reality that connects us to something far greater than ourselves. And that realization is the most important realization we can ever have. It's the key to understanding our place in the universe, the reason for our existence, and the purpose of our lives. It's the key to finding peace in a world that is so often characterized by chaos. It's the key to living a life that is full, that is meaningful, and that is deeply connected to the source of all things. So, let's hold on to this. Let's carry it with us. Let's live it out in everything we do. Because that is the truth that has been waiting for us, that has survived the erosion of time, and that is here for us now. And that, in the end, is what it really means to walk with God. It means to live in the light of the truth, even when the world around us is in darkness. It means to be a witness, to be a voice, and to be a beacon of hope for others who are also seeking the truth. That is our calling, and that is our purpose. And it is a calling that is worth everything we have. So, let's step into it. Let's fully embrace it. And let's see where this journey takes us. Because the truth is not just a destination. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. And it's the most important way there is. This is the story of Enoch. And this is the story of us. It's a story that is still being told, a story that is still being written, and a story that is waiting for us to play our part. So, let's play it well. Let's play it with courage. Let's play it with conviction. And let's see what we can create. The warning has been given, the truth has been revealed, and the path has been set. The rest is up to us. Are we ready? Are we willing? Are we prepared? Let's find out. The journey begins now. The story of 3000 BC isn't just about the past. It's about the eternal principles that govern our lives. It's about the interplay between human free will and divine order. It's about the consequences of our choices and the reality of accountability. It's about the fact that we are part of a much larger, much more profound drama than we can possibly imagine. And when we start to see that, When we start to understand that our lives are part of a grand design, then everything changes. Our perspectives shift, our values realign, and our purpose becomes clear. We no longer see ourselves as isolated individuals, but as part of a collective human story that is moving toward an ultimate resolution. And that resolution is rooted in truth, in love, and in justice. That is the promise that God has given us, and that is the hope that we are called to live out. So, let's not be discouraged by the challenges we face. Let's not be distracted by the noise. Let's not be swayed by the pressure of our culture. Let's stand firm in the truth. Let's trust in the Creator, and let's walk with confidence, knowing that we are part of something that is far greater, far more meaningful, and far more enduring than anything this world can offer. That is the lesson of Enoch. That is the warning of the flood, and that is the truth of our existence. It's a truth that has been waiting for us, that has survived the trials of history, and that is here for us today. Let's cherish it, let's live it, and let's share it. Because that is the light that will guide us home. The warning is clear, the truth is available, the journey is open. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Let's do it together. Let's dive deeper into the ancient truths. Let's challenge ourselves to grow, and let's see how much we can uncover. The story of Enoch is just the beginning. There is so much more to discover, so much more to learn, and so much more to understand. And I am honored to be on this journey with you. Let's keep exploring, let's keep learning, and let's keep moving forward. Together, the truth is waiting, and it's time to find it. The history of 3000 BC is a testament to the fact that we are not the first ones to struggle, to search, and to wonder. We are part of a long historic lineage of people who have been asking the same fundamental questions, and that gives us a sense of perspective, a sense of community, and a sense of belonging. We are not alone, we are never alone. And that is a powerful, life-changing truth. It's a truth that can sustain us when things are difficult, that can inspire us when things are challenging, and that can give us hope when things are uncertain. So, let's remember this. Let's hold on to this connection. Let's draw strength from it. And let's continue to walk this path, together, as part of a larger story that is being told, a story that is being written, and a story that is moving toward a resolution that is full of light, truth, and love. That is the promise, that is the goal, and that is the destination. Let's move toward it with everything we have. The story of Enoch is not just a story about a flood. It's a story about the grace of God. It's a story about the fact that even in the midst of our failures, even in the midst of our rebellion, even in the midst of our own self-imposed catastrophes, God is there. He is waiting, He is watching, and He is inviting us to return. He is the constant in a world of variables. He is the anchor in a sea of uncertainty, and He is the truth in a world of confusion. That is the heart of the story, and that is the core of our faith. So, let's trust in Him, let's look to Him, and let's walk with Him every step of the way. That is the legacy we leave. That is the message we share. And that is the truth that will endure long after we are gone. So, let's be the ones who carry it forward. Let's be the ones who live it out. And let's be the ones who leave the world a little bit better, a little bit brighter, and a little bit closer to the truth than we found it. That is the journey, and that is the purpose. Let's make the most of it. There is so much more that we could say, but for now, let's let this sink in. Let's reflect on what we've learned. Let's consider how it applies to our lives. And let's prepare for the next step of our journey. Because the story isn't over. It's just beginning, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Are you? Let's do this. The ancient world was a place of mystery and wonder, a place where the divine and the human lived in closer proximity than we can perhaps understand. And Enoch was a man who lived in that tension, a man who saw both worlds and understood the connection between them. His life, his record, and his message are a bridge across time. A bridge that connects us to the realities of our own existence and the purpose of our lives. It's a bridge that we are walking across, one day at a time, one decision at a time. And as we do, let's remember the warning. let's honor the truth, and let's walk with the confidence of those who know they are not alone. That is the journey of a lifetime, and it's one that is worth everything we have. So, let's stay the course. Let's keep moving forward, and let's see what happens. The truth is waiting, and we are finally ready to meet it. This is the truth that Enoch showed us, the truth that was erased, and the truth that is finally, mercifully, being restored. Let's live it. The weight of Enoch's testimony lies not in its ability to predict the future, but in its ability to illuminate the present. It turns the mirror on us, forcing us to ask the uncomfortable questions about the foundation of our civilization. Are we building on rock, or are we building on sand? The people of 3000 BC were convinced they were building a masterpiece of human achievement. They were looking at the height of their towers, the complexity of their laws, the reach of their influence, and they saw progress. They saw mastery. They saw themselves as the pinnacle of evolution. And yet, beneath that veneer, the structural integrity of their society was failing. It was rotting from within. It was a failure of the heart, a failure of the spirit, and a failure of the soul. They had traded their birthright for a mess of pottage, their connection to the infinite for the illusion of finite control. This is the great tragedy of the human experience. We constantly trade the eternal for the immediate. We trade the profound for the superficial. We trade the truth for the comforting lie. And it is only when the waters rise that we begin to see what we have actually lost. But even then, even in the midst of our failure, even in the midst of our judgment, there is grace. Because God does not just warn us, He invites us. He invites us to turn back, to return, to realign. And that is the hope that Enoch held out, and that is the hope that still exists for us today. The flood was the end of one era, but it was also the beginning of another. And we are living in that new era, a time of opportunity, a time of challenge, and a time of decision. We are living in a time where we are called to be the custodians of the truth, the defenders of the faith, and the voices for what is right. And that is a calling we must take seriously. We must be prepared to stand for what we believe, even when the world around us is in flux. We must be prepared to speak the truth, even when it is not popular. And we must be prepared to walk with God, even when it means walking alone. That is the challenge of our time, and that is the challenge of our lives. But we are not alone. We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, those who have gone before us, who have sought the truth, who have stood for what is right, and who have walked with God. And their legacy is our strength. Their history is our roadmap. Their faith is our inspiration. So, let's move forward with courage. Let's move forward with clarity. Let's move forward with the truth. That is how we shape our future. That is how we honor our past. And that is how we walk into the purpose for which we were created. The journey is ours to make. Let's make it count. The warning of the flood is not just a historical event. It is a spiritual principle. It is a reminder that there is an order to the universe, and that when we violate that order, there are consequences. It is a reminder that we are responsible for our actions, that we are accountable to the Creator, and that our choices have meaning. And this is not a burden, it is a gift. It is the gift of knowing that we are part of something larger than ourselves, that we have a purpose, and that our lives matter in the grand design of the cosmos. So, let's embrace this gift. Let's honor it. And let's live in a way that reflects our understanding of this profound reality. That is the message of Enoch. That is the warning of the flood. And that is the truth of our existence. It's a truth that has survived the trials of history, that has been passed down through the generations, and that is here for us today. Let's cherish it, let's live it, and let's pass it on. Because that is how the truth is preserved, how the legacy is honored, and how the future is secured. The story of Enoch is a story for all of us, a story for our time, and a story for our future. And I am so glad that we have been able to explore it together. This journey has been an eye-opener, a challenge, and a source of deep inspiration. And I hope that it has been the same for you. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep the flame of truth alive, and let's keep moving forward. Because the truth is worth it. You are worth it. and our future is worth it. Let's do this. The story of the flood is the ultimate reminder that God is in control, even when it seems like the world is falling apart. It's a reminder that He is the architect of our reality, the author of our story, and the source of our strength. And when we lose sight of that, we become easily shaken, easily discouraged, and easily lost. But when we keep our eyes on Him, when we align ourselves with His truth, then we can stand firm, no matter what happens, no matter what challenges we face, and no matter what the world may try to throw our way. That is the lesson of Enoch, that is the warning of the flood, and that is the promise of our faith. So, let's hold on to that promise. Let's live in that hope. And let's move forward with the assurance that we are held in the hands of the One who created all things. And that, my friend, is a peace that passes all understanding. It's the peace that Enoch walked in, and it's the peace that is available to you today. So, let's walk in it. Let's live in it, and let's see what we can create. The truth is waiting, and we are ready. Let's go. The past is a map, the present is the road, and the future is the destination. We are traveling through a landscape that has been shaped by the choices of those who came before us, and we are, in turn, shaping the landscape for those who will follow. That is the legacy of our journey, that is the responsibility of our existence, and that is the opportunity of our time. So, let's make it count. Let's be the ones who leave a legacy of truth, of faith, and of courage. Let's be the ones who help others to find their way, to understand the truth, and to walk in the light. Because that is how we make the world a better place. That is how we honor the Creator. And that is how we fulfill our purpose. It's a beautiful journey, and I'm honored to be on it with you. So, let's keep moving forward. Let's keep growing. And let's keep seeking the truth, because it is worth it. Every step of the way, every moment of the journey. Every choice we make, let's go. The story of Enoch is a testament to the fact that truth is never lost. It is only waiting to be rediscovered. And that is what we have done today. We have rediscovered a truth that has been hidden, a warning that has been forgotten, and a wisdom that has been overlooked. And now that we have it, we have the responsibility to act on it. We have the responsibility to live it. We have the responsibility to share it. And that is a responsibility that we should embrace with joy, with gratitude, and with a commitment to do our part. So, let's do it. Let's be the witnesses of the truth. Let's be the carriers of the light, and let's see what happens. The truth is waiting, and we are ready. The future is ours to build. Let's build it well. Let's build it on the foundation of the truth. Let's build it on the foundation of the faith. Let's build it on the foundation of the love of God. And let's see what we can create. The journey begins now. Are you ready? Let's do this. The story of Enoch is one of the most powerful and transformative stories ever told. It is a story that bridges the gap between the ancient and the modern, the physical and the spiritual, the seen and the unseen. It is a story that challenges us to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions, and to seek the truth for ourselves. It is a story that reminds us of our connection to the Creator, our responsibility to each other, and our purpose in this world. And it is a story that is waiting for you to fully embrace it. So, let's go. Let's dive in. Let's see what we can discover. The journey is just beginning, and I'm looking forward to every step of the way. Let's do this together. The truth is calling. Are you listening? Let's go.